The DNR, just in a press conference earlier today, was touting how this new licensing system would create more flexibility and convenience for anglers. I'm hearing that our audio issues might be fixed, and I would have Drew now. Drew?
Yeah, how are you doing?
All right, great. We've been having a lot of technical issues today, so I'm glad that I finally got to talk to you. You heard him say here in that press conference earlier today that this is a major step forward in how Minnesotans access outdoor services. But I want to know, from a retailer like yourself, day one of this electronic system, how is it going?
It's so far today, I've already had a couple hiccups here and there with like printing it off and getting the printers to everything work. As of us here, I can speak upon like a lot of the employees here. The old system was always better. It was like 4 buttons in and out, just like I said in the last interview. This one, it's a little bit longer of a process for us, but fooling around with the app myself, it's simple. It's a lot more easier, self-explanatory. A few buttons, you can see your fishing license. A few buttons, you can buy stamps, tags, anything you can do that way.
I mean, are you having customers come in and say, I just can't figure it out. Can you help me out?
Yeah, and that's a very recurrence. Earlier this week, when everything was like shut down, I had customers in here asking, "What am I going to do? Like, I don't own a smartphone. I don't know how to work a computer. I don't know how to do a printer, kind of that stuff." So a lot of the stores, we can still do license in store, but there's the extended group that still isn't very well with electronics. So that's the biggest.
Yeah, you have a certain generation who is not always so technically ready for transitions like this.
Yeah.
But they say that you don't need a printed license. You can just show your digital license now. If you get approached by a DNR officer when you're out on the water, you can just show them your digital license, that you don't need a license printed out. And that was one of the selling points of this, that it's really easy to log in, to get it, and to just show that license. You're saying the 4 steps on your computer maybe was a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, printing it off, like on the old, it was swipe the driver's license, individual angling, next, no additional print, done. This one, you got to search through, scroll. It's on another tab on the computer. So on us sellers, it might take a little bit of a longer, but it's more. As for our store, we've been telling everyone just download the app themselves. It's a lot more easier that way.
Are you even able to do? I mean, like, do you even have a computer anymore that you can do this on, or is everybody forced to use their own device?
We had a terminal that we got from the DNR, and then now we have to switch back to our desktop, which we're in another tab on a computer.
Okay. And how do you think this has impacted business? I mean, you mentioned that license sales from June 2nd to June 8th were shut down, and that nobody needed a license during that time. Now today, obviously, everyone needs a license again. But I'm curious how business has been in that time when the license system was shut down, and then now when people maybe are trying to figure this out.
In an impact for our store for sales for DNR, it's a little bit differently. There's a couple things like behind closed doors on what we get from like a DNR license sale. That, I mean, it wasn't that huge of an impact. As a store, we make $1 per license, so I mean, it's not huge impact.
Yeah. Yeah, but you are hearing from your customers, they're opinionated about whether they like this new system.
Yeah, and I do like it. I mean, I can instead of printing it off, I can email it to them. I can send it to them once it's all purchased here. If they have the app, they can have access to it right there. I just know I got a couple individuals that work here isn't computer smart, so that might be a challenge if he's here during the week. But the majority of us know how to work this.
Yeah. What do you think the learning curve is going to be? I mean, in a month, you think everybody's going to be learned up, or are you still going to have to be reminding people, hey, that old system is gone now. You got to download the app. I mean, how long do you think you're going to have to be educating customers about the new system?
I think it's going to take maybe a year or two for everyone to be like well educated. Like, hey, there is an app. I know there's going to be like other locations that do sell like fishing license. There's going to be a QR code that they can just scan, and then it'll continue progress on. But I don't think it's going to be instantly everyone's just going to be buying a fishing license from the app. Everyone's going to have questions and concerns.
What have you been telling people about the harvesting? Because now you can report your harvest. This is not just for anglers, it's for hunters, it's for trappers. What have you been telling people about that? Because that to me is the more confusing part.
Where like registering, for like registering, the majority of the time you could like call it in the past, like call in a number that's on the back of the license being like, I harvest this here, there, and fill out all the basic information. There now you get it from a smartphone. So there's only one concern. If you're out in the hunting deer or whatever, and you have no service, you can't register it then and there. Same exact situation. You would have to go into town or something to do it. But you can do it all from your phone, and that's the simplicity of it.
Yeah. So change is it's hard for people, but in the end, this is a system that was more than 25 years old, and maybe it was time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Drew with Prior Lake Bait and Tackle, I sure appreciate you. How are the fish biting down there in Prior Lake right now?
Pretty good. We've got this warm weather that's kind of pushing everything to a standstill, if you want any kind of like fishing knowledge. But the bass are always up in the shallows right now with the crappies and sunfish.
That's amazing. I was out fishing with my kid yesterday. Yeah, it's a little hot. I don't think the fish are liking it that much right now, but
yeah.
And mom's not liking it too much either, having to stand out there in the heat. But I appreciate you, Drew, and have a great summer.
You as well.